Peace and blessings, peace and blessings, peace and blessings, y'all. What is going on? What is going on? You are now tuning in to the Ankh Living Podcast, where life ain't lifing, but we are living life. Like, that is literally the meaning of the name of the podcast. This is where we're going to tap into our mindset so we can live abundant and purposeful lives. So that way, at the end of the road, we can say that this was a beautiful lifestyle. We're going to be tapping into health, not just physical, but also mental, social. We're also going to be talking about those wealth concepts here. And lastly, we're going to be talking about relationships, not just relationships with other people, but relationships with yourself. Because, I mean, if you ask me, that's the most important relationship, right? So if that's something you want to tune into every single Wednesday, go ahead, get yourself subscribed, get yourself downloading so you can know when we drop a podcast every single Wednesday. All right. So go ahead and do that. And we're going to get into it. So I often hear people referencing this word called circumstances, right? This word called circumstances. And I had to really kind of dive deeper into it and get a good understanding of what are these things we call circumstances. So I got a question for you. Have you ever wondered what keeps us in our circumstances? Like, what is that one thing that keeps us in our circumstances? If you have been, keep on listening, okay? Keep on listening, because we about to break it down. We're going to break it down, and not only are we going to break it down, I'm going to make sure I give y'all the solution, the practical solution, so you can not get out, but break free from your circumstances, all right? So just to give a little bit of backstory behind where this topic came about, I was listening to a Zig Ziglar audio on SoundCloud. If you know of Zig Ziglar, you know that he was like one of the top motivational speakers for a very long time. And in the audio, he said something regarding like people saying under the circumstances when he would ask them how they're doing. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Let me where have I heard something similar to circumstances before? So I thought about it, and I was like, okay, like anytime I come across a word and it jars something in my mind, to kind of break it down, because, you know, no meaning of a word is really isolated from anything else. I was like, circumstance. What is the meaning of that? And literally, it comes down to, when you break the word down, it's really two words. And those words are circum, which refers to circular or circles, and stance, which means to stand, like, or someone or something's standing position. So when we break this down, it literally means you're standing in a circle. What does stand? If we break that down even further, KiMu, break it down. If we're breaking that down even further, what does that mean? Well, if I'm going to put it plain and simple, that means you ain't learning your lesson. If you are in a circumstance, that means something is repeatedly occurring in your life. And the fact that you're not learning from it is keeping that cycle to continue. And it's usually not a situation where the results are coming out different. Nah, you're doing the same thing and you're getting the same results. Like, if you ask me, I mean, that's literally the definition of insanity. Doing something, expecting different results. And maybe you're not even expecting different results. Maybe you don't even realize that it literally keeps, the same thing keeps happening and happening and happening in your life. If we refer to my favorite movie, this is kind of like a little bit of a tangent, but if we refer to my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies, Enter the Matrix, like that's what they call a glitch in the that's what they call a glitch, or deja vu, a glitch in the Matrix. You're stuck in the Matrix. All right, so but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. That's not why we're here. We are here to uncover and get you out of your circumstances, help you get awareness, and then execute on getting you out of your circumstances. All right, so let me share a personal story regarding circumstances, because everybody has been there. Everybody has been in the situation where something just keeps on happening and happening and happening again. And we have to figure out how do we get out of this. So that's why we're here today. For me personally, especially when I left my job the first time, and I went on a period, I was like, if you've heard previous episodes, driving Uber, Lyft, Amazon Flex, I was doing everything. Like you name it, where I am, I was doing it. And I even took it when I moved down to Atlanta. I was doing it. I was literally doing everything. And my finances were not getting any better. They were getting worse, to be completely honest. Excuse me. I was doing more and getting less. And I could not understand it. I could not wrap my head around the fact that I was putting in all this work and my circumstances were not changing. This is where we talk about, like, another concept that I'm going to be tackling on this podcast is work in equals work out. Debunking that theory, because it really doesn't. It truly doesn't. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about circumstances. I had to come to grips, and I had to have a hard conversation with myself and say, bro, you have to make a change. I'm gonna make a change. Yes, we talking about Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. I had to make a change. I had to have a hard conversation with myself and say, hey, dude, this ain't working no more. Like, what you've been doing, all of these odd jobs and listening to other people and kind of in developing not even developing, but adopting other people's personas so you can find this get rich quick scheme so you can stop this cycle. You got to do something different. And what I had to do differently was I had to actually become a student. I had to not even humble myself, but I had to say, hey, like, you don't know it all. You don't know how to, you don't know what you're doing. You just don't know what you're doing. And it's okay. It's perfectly fine. And I had to do all the things that we're going to talk about as a solution to really get me in the path of moving forward in my life and not continuing to have these circumstances. Part of my circumstances was depression. I was on like cyclical, and I'm probably making this up, but cyclical depression. I had anxiety. I've said this in previous episodes. I had anxiety. I had an anxiety attack at one point. I was going through cycles of things, of occurrences, because I was running on a hamster wheel. That's literally what a circumstance is. Like, you're literally running on a hamster wheel. And sometimes the hamster wheel look different, but what you're doing is what I did. I was going from one opportunity to another opportunity, expecting me to get further along the way. And no, that's not how it goes. At some point you have to get off the treadmill and you actually have to run. Let me say that again. At some point you have to get off the treadmill because you're not getting anywhere. Like, you're getting work done, but you're not going anywhere. And you have to actually go outside and run. You got to move forward. What did I do so that way I could start moving forward? I'm about to tell you, these are the solutions that I'm talking about. I had to be real with myself and say, hey, bruh, you got to take inventory of what's going on, what's working, what's not working, and how can we improve the process. I had to do that. The first time I did that, I was actually watching a video on trading. I became aware because I started to get exposed to different information. And it's really, at the time, it wasn't even new information. It wasn't new information at all. I actually had heard it from driving, from picking up people who are influential in the Philadelphia community, not even in Atlanta, in the Philadelphia community, people who are building rec centers, multiple rec centers, giving me gems, people who own multiple businesses, people who own real estate, multiple real estate, and they're millionaires. I'm literally in the car with millionaires. I just wasn't in the space of receiving it though. And that's perfectly fine. Sometimes, people plant seeds and it may take years for it to germinate. Like, look at fruit trees. It takes 4 to 7 years for certain fruit to come out of the ground. Like, it just is what it is. But I had to become aware of the fact that I was running on a hamster wheel, and I had to stop doing what it was that I was doing. I had to learn something different. I had to be willing to move, to get off the hamster wheel and not hop back on another hamster wheel. And that just comes with being aware and taking inventory of your life. Like I said, what works, what doesn't work, how can we improve the process? Right? So that's number one. That's tip number one, is become aware and take. I mean, if you've listened to previous episodes, you know that I'm always going to say that the first step is awareness. So when it comes to solutions, that's the first step, is awareness. The second step is, once you're aware, now it's time to take it to the next level and create steps, create the vision. I get it. Goals are cool and all, but if your goals do not create a lifestyle, right? Like, a goal could be, oh, I'm going to become a manager, and then I'm going to become a power lifter, and then I'm going to become like, I'm going to start going to church every single Sunday, and I'm going to, like, the question is, what does the lifestyle look like? I'm not against goals, but what I am for is having a vision. These goals should be benchmarks. I use my goals as benchmarks to drive me toward my vision. I've created my vision, and with that vision, there's goals. There's long-term goals, there's mid-term goals, and there's short-term goals, and they are going to add up to my vision. The best way that I can even think about it is, it's like a math equation. Like, I'm an engineer. I said in a previous episode, I'm a scientist. And shoot, you ask my brothers, I'm a mad scientist. I'm constantly trying to re-engineer what it is that I want my life to look like. So it requires me to make goals, and not a whole bunch. Not in each section. All right. So we got awareness, and we have making sure that we create a vision, and in that vision, we're having goals. Next, this is a little bit more abstract, but this right here that I'm going to give it to you is part of the process. Understand that cycles are inevitable. You're going to learn something. You're going to apply it. You're going to hit a challenge. And that process literally starts all over. Like, I can't even front on how often that happens. Like, it's just, it's a mental thing, because we don't always have the skills to get to the next level. We have to practice. We have to go through moments of being uncomfortable. We have to go through a lot of things, a lot of building, so that way we could get to the next level. But that does not mean quit. That does not mean that being uncomfortable is a sign to quit. It doesn't. I'm saying this third point to tell you the third step. The third tip that I'm giving you is to understand, and overstand that cycles are inevitable. It's a law of the universe. I talk about laws of the universe in these episodes because I can't make this stuff up. I've done too much studying about natural laws, physics, human nature, all of that stuff. I've done too much study into mindset. I've done too much study into, and in every situation that I've studied, it's right there. Cycles, they're there. We got 4 seasons. We have there's evolution. It's so many cycles in here. If you actually look at your life in a microscopic way, you'll realize that you'll go on emotional cycles. You'll go on moments where you feel highly productive, and then moments where you don't feel so productive. Women have cycles, menstrual cycles. Everything has a cycle. Okay, everything has a cycle. So that's the point that I'm making. And then another point is learn from the experience. We just talked about cycles. We just talked about being aware. We just talked about, I just gave you my story. I had to learn from my experiences. You're going to go through these cycles, like I just said in the last one. You're going to learn something. You're going to apply it. You're going to hit a challenge. The defining point that creates a life of purpose and abundance, and this is me speaking from my own personal experience. I love my life. Like, I'm not one of those people who say life be life, and that means that doesn't mean anything to me. But when we transition from life be lifing to Ankh living, that's the point where we're learning from the experiences we're having in life. Okay, I had this experience. What did I learn? And don't just focus on the negative. Focus on the positives too. Once again, tip number 1. What worked, what didn't work? Okay, keep doing what worked. Don't stop doing it. Don't stop doing it. Keep doing what worked. All right. So we have 4 things. We have becoming aware, taking inventory. That was number 1. We have taking inventory. We got number 2, creating a vision and a goal. And you're going to be learning along the process. You're going to be learning different skills. We have number 3 is, just go through the cycles. And as long as we're moving forward, it's impossible to be in circumstances because you're constantly learning something. You're constantly moving forward. You're never moving backwards because you hit a challenge. You just move through. All right. And then lastly, learn from your experiences. That's probably the most important part, because that shows how much willpower you have, how much resilience you have, how much determination you have. Those challenges are going to be there to test and help you grow. Test and grow. That's the point. That's the best part of being a human. So thank y'all so much for tuning into another episode of the Ankh Living Podcast with yours truly, KiMu JTD. KiMu JTD. Hey, make sure that you subscribe, follow, whatever you got to do to make sure you get notified that you are going to get another episode on every single Wednesday. And make sure you share this. Like, this is some real, if this is valuable information, make sure you share this, because it's selfish for you to keep it. I also have something free for y'all. I have, and below in the comments, if you want to know, because I get this question all the time, KiMu, like, how did you get so positive? It's right in the comments. There's a link to it. It's free. It's for you to have. And also, make sure, if you want to get in contact with me, make sure you follow me on Instagram at AnkhLiving_podcast. Go ahead and join the free Facebook community if you have any questions, or you could DM me on the Instagram. All right. So once again, Make sure you share. Make sure you comment. Let me know what y'all want more of. Like I said, share this and go get the free thing I have for you so you can experience what I experienced when I was looking to get out of those cycles of depression, those cycles of anxiety, those circumstances that I was living in. All right. So, hey, once again, peace and blessings. Third eye salute to you and yours. I love you. If you didn't know, now you know. Peace.